The moment a royal guard proved duty and compassion can coexist. The area outside Buckingham Palace was bustling with tourists, eagerly capturing the grand sight of the royal guards standing motionless in their pristine red uniforms. Amidst the crowd, an elderly man named Edward Turner, struggling with his cane, attempted to cross the cobblestone street. His frail body wavered, and every step seemed more difficult than the last. A few tourists noticed his struggle, whispering among themselves, but no one stepped forward to assist him. The weight of time had made his legs weak, but his determination to see the palace one last time kept him going. As Edward took another step, his cane suddenly slipped between the uneven stones, causing him to lose his balance. He stumbled forward, barely managing to catch himself. A gasp rippled through the crowd, their eyes darting between the fallen man and the unflinching royal guards. Then, in an unexpected moment, one of the guards moved. Breaking from his rigid stance, the guard stepped forward without hesitation, his rifle still secured but his focus entirely on the struggling man. The tourist stood in awe, murmuring in surprise as the soldier bent down and gently helped Edward to his feet. "Are you all right, sir?" the guard asked in a calm yet authoritative tone. Edward's wrinkled eyes filled with gratitude as he nodded. "Thank you, young man. I didn't think anyone would help." The guard gave a slight, respectful nod before carefully guiding Edward to a nearby bench, ensuring he was seated safely. His duty was to remain still, but his humanity had spoken louder than protocol. The tourists, moved by the rare sight, began applauding quietly, their phones capturing the moment of unexpected kindness. This was a royal guard unlike any other, not just a symbol of discipline, but a beacon of compassion. The murmurs of the crowd soon turned into quiet admiration. Many who had once viewed the royal guards as emotionless statues now saw them in a different light. Social media lit up within minutes. Videos of the moment spread like wildfire, with captions such as "the royal guard's unexpected kindness" and "humanity behind the uniform" trending worldwide. Edward, now seated comfortably, took a deep breath and looked around. A kind woman from the crowd handed him a bottle of water, and a young child approached the bench, offering him a small snack. The royal guard, having ensured Edward's safety, returned to his position with silent dignity. Yet, the energy around him had changed. The tourists no longer saw just a soldier standing motionless. They saw a person, a protector, a man who chose kindness in a moment that mattered. Across the city, news outlets picked up the story, hailing it as a reminder that even in the most disciplined roles, humanity must never be forgotten. Buckingham Palace officials took notice, issuing a rare statement: "Duty and compassion are not mutually exclusive. Our guards uphold the highest traditions of honor, strength, and respect, both for their duty and for those they serve." For Edward, the moment meant more than words could express. This wasn't just about a fall. It was about the dignity of an aging man being preserved by the very people tasked with guarding the country's most precious traditions. The next day, when Edward visited again, this time with the assistance of a family member, he found the same guard standing at his post. Their eyes met, and though no words were spoken, the silent acknowledgement between them was enough. In the days that followed, the story of the Royal Guard's act of kindness continued to spread. News stations replayed the footage, praising the rare and touching moment. People from around the world shared their own encounters with acts of unexpected kindness from those in uniform. Tourists visiting Buckingham Palace now approached the guards with a newfound sense of respect, not just for their discipline, but for the human presence behind the rigid stance. Some left handwritten letters at the gates, thanking them for their service, not just in protecting the palace, but in upholding values of dignity and care. Edward, moved by the overwhelming response, wrote a personal letter of gratitude to Buckingham Palace. To his surprise, he received a formal response signed by a palace representative, expressing deep appreciation for his kind words. The royal guard himself remained anonymous, as duty required, but those who witnessed the event would never forget him. He had not spoken much, but his actions had spoken volumes. Months later, Edward visited once more, this time in better health, accompanied by his grandchildren. As they approached the palace gates, one of the children whispered, "Grandpa, is that the guard who helped you?" Edward smiled as he saw a familiar stance among the guards. Though he could never be sure, in his heart, he believed it was the same man. And with a quiet nod of gratitude, he walked past, knowing that some acts of kindness need no recognition, only remembrance. As the story of the compassionate guard continued to circulate, discussions arose about the true nature of tradition and duty. Many believed that such small yet powerful acts of kindness should be embraced, proving that even within the strictest discipline, humanity can shine through. Within the Royal Guard's ranks, younger soldiers felt inspired. Stories of previous unseen acts of kindness began surfacing, helping lost children find their families, offering silent support to grieving visitors, and standing in quiet solidarity with veterans who came to pay their respects. A well-respected retired officer spoke on national television. "A soldier's duty is not just to stand guard, but to serve with honor and integrity." This guard demonstrated the highest form of service, not just in protecting the palace, but in protecting the dignity of a man in need. Months later, Buckingham Palace quietly introduced a new guideline, one that allowed for moments of measured, controlled assistance when the situation called for it. While the guards remained steadfast in their duties, they were now recognized not just as symbols of strength, but as protectors of the people as well. Edward's story became part of the palace's lore, a reminder that sometimes the smallest gestures leave the most profound impact. Tourists continued to visit, sharing stories of how that one moment had changed their perception of the Royal Guard. And somewhere in the crowd, standing at his post as always, the guard remained, silent, disciplined, yet forever remembered as the one who proved that even the most rigid traditions can hold room for kindness.